I got controlling parents. Anybody else got controlling parents? I think Asian parents are more controlling than white parents are, and they worry a lot more. Like, white parents don't even know that you've been stripping for like 5 years. You know what I mean? They're like, she was just bringing home so much cash. We didn't investigate. Of course she drives a brand new Lexus coupe working at Red Robin 12 hours a week, if you will. I talked to my white friend the other day, and he said he hadn't talked to his parents in like 3 months. You guys, if I don't talk to my parents in like 2 days, they're calling all my friends. One time, they even called my weed dealer. How the hell did she get the number for my weed dealer? You guys, moms know everything. They know when you're doing that blow. They know when you're doing that hoe. And they know that you're jerking off when you have your bedroom door locked, all right? It just happened to me about a week ago. And when I was a kid, man, we didn't have good technology, How many of you guys remember cassette tapes? Okay, now we know who the old people are. And then, we had cassette tapes, and we would have all our favorite songs. We didn't have like Spotify with millions of songs you can download. We had one cassette tape with all our favorite songs on it, and we called it Prince's Jams. Right? And once in a while, that cassette tape would break, and then what would we do? We would tape it back together. And it would still work. We'd put it in our Walkman, and it'd be like, it's tricky to rock around, you're tricky. It's tricky, 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 woo! And then came the next generation. It was CDs. You guys remember CDs? And then dumbasses like me would do a bunch of coke on it. Be in a car somewhere, like, let's do some blow, try it on the console. Rocks are flying everywhere. And dumbasses like me would do a bunch of coke on the CD, and then it would lead to skips. You guys remember it would all skip with all the scratches? And instead of AC/DC, it would just be AC, right? And it would be like, she was a fast machine. It'd be like a DJ with arthritis, if you will. And when we were kids, man, we didn't have good food. They don't have like the fancy cuisines, the good restaurants, the fusions that we have today, right? Like especially white people, you guys had really shitty food. You guys had to put like mayonnaise on Wonder Bread. You know what I mean? You guys had like TV dinners with like Salisbury steak and sizzling and shit. You'd put that shit in the mic and it would blow up. At least Koreans, we had like Korean barbecue and kimchi, which people are finally coming hip to right now, but not in time to save my childhood. And nowadays, though, people are hip to kimchi, right? Like if I went out on a date and ate some kimchi, they'd be like, ooh, your breath stinks. Back in the day, right? Nowadays, if you make a girl a fresh homemade bottle of kimchi, they'll be like, oh my God, probiotics, if you will. No one's ever brought me probiotics so that I could shit in the morning. And we had dumb dances too. Man, we had like the Cabbage Patch. The Cabbage Patch dance. And it'd be like, and then the Cabbage Patch on Coke. And then, we had the Running Man. Like, we were so not creative that we just decided that one of our dances would be running in place. That sounds like a good idea. Let's just... And then, of course, we tried to get a little more creative, and we decided to do the backwards Running Man, right? I'm sweating right now just doing it. And then the Kid and Play. Who remembers the Kid and Play? Where you would just be like, and then at the end of it, you would hook legs and go all the way around. Yeah, we had dumbass dances. And we had 3 things we could watch on TV. We had the 700 Club, we had the Cosby Show, and we had the news. And we didn't want to watch the news because all there was assaults and rapes. And little did we know we were also watching that on the Cosby Show. Too soon? And my parents, man, they were always watching the 700 Club because they were Christians. And it would brainwash them into thinking that everything bad in the world that happened was because it was the end times, the end of the world, like the Bible says. So I remember the Iraq War happened. They were like, Iraq War, it's the end times, end times. And I'm like, Dad, there's been wars and rumors of wars throughout history. That doesn't mean the end times. And I remember I got a fight at school. They were like, kids fighting in school, it's the end times. End times. And I'm like, Dad, I won that fight. I don't think it's the end of the world quite yet. And then I remember I got 1B in a class. And I came home, my dad was like, kids getting B's in school, it's the end times. End times. And I'm like this kid thinking that the world was gonna end. So I started drinking, you guys, when I was like 12. And by the time I found out it was all bullshit, I became a full-blown alcoholic, if you will. And it didn't help that my parents owned a convenience store, Daniel's Market. And we were like the stereotype. It was so embarrassing, you know, because they spoke in this broken English all the time. And what else was embarrassing is my parents were so cheap that they would steal napkins and chopsticks from the local Chinese restaurant for people to use at the store. I think they figured since China invaded Korea that they would invade the Chinese restaurant. Little history lesson for you guys. China and Korea are not the same country. So stop calling me Chinese, motherfuckers. And Prince ain't Chinese either, so stop calling Prince Chinese. And I remember one night, this white dude came and he bought some macaroni salad. Because that's what white people do. They turn carbohydrates into a salad. And he tried to use one of the stolen chopsticks. And he wasn't very good, because he was white. And he wasn't getting much macaroni into his mouth. And out of nowhere, my dad pops up, puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, and he's like, "You want a fork? Why you no fork?" And I've never seen a guy run so fast covering his own ass. All that was left was a trail of wet noodle. And of course, thank you for that. And of course, my dad's a smart ass. He was like, "I guess he just wanted the spoon." That one was just for me. Doesn't even matter. But what was cool about my parents owning a convenience store is I could steal liquor and sell it at school. Yeah, I was the #1 retailer at Baker Junior High of Old English 800, St. Ides, Mickey's Big Mouse, Night Train, Mad Dog 2020, and Bartles and James wine coolers for the white girls. You'd be surprised how fast I became the cool guy. The same people that were calling me like Ching Chong Chinaman and Jimmy Shimmy Cocoa Puff, they were like, J-Dog, what up, man? Jimmy S, he knows where the party's at, dude. Come hang with us, man. Man, and then I remember I started selling weed because I wanted to be the one-stop shop. Because I'm Asian, I turn everything into a business, okay? And then the grams turned into eighths, and the eighths turned into ounces. And when I was a kid, I had a vision board on my wall. And it was my dad's vision board. And it said, Jimmy Shin, attorney at law. I'm all for vision boards, but it has to be your vision board. You know what I mean? If it was Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, it'd be like, my dad has a dream. But I would look at it and I'd be like, one of these days I'm gonna get to law school. And it worked, you know? But at the same time, my parents raised me in a convenience store. You know what kind of lowlives hang out at the convenience store? People like Prince hang out at the convenience store. You got the pimps, the prostitutes, the drug dealers, and those are just my friends. And I get into law school, right? And I don't know how. Well, I know how, because my dad would have kicked my ass if I didn't get in. I remember when I was a kid, if I didn't listen to my dad or get good grades, my dad would hit me with the love stick. Yeah, on it, it'd be like one side of it said love and the other side said discipline. So to my dad, love was discipline. But at the same time, he taught me Taekwondo. So it'd be like a kind of fucked up karate kid where he'd hit me and I would block it, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. And he'd get so mad because I'd block all the hits, right? I think that's why I didn't learn any discipline, because I blocked them all because of the Taekwondo. And then, and even in law school, man, I was selling like so much weed. It's mind-boggling to think back now. I was selling like 100 packs every few weeks. I mean, that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I didn't even blink an eye. And of course, one night, I get a knock on my door. And it was 7 DE agents with guns. The cookie had crumbled, if you will. And I remember going to jail. But that wasn't the worst part of it. The worst part of it was when my parents found out. And my dad calls me up. He goes, "You bring shame to family. Why you do this to us?" And I'm like, "Dad, it's the end times. Everybody's screwing up right now."